Autism is no longer rare. And I remember when I was in grade school, we had one kid in our entire school that was autistic. One out of about 400 kids. And today, the CDC reports that 1 in 36 children is becoming diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder sometime in their life. That's not one in an entire school. That's not one in an entire classroom, each classroom. And that number continues to rise every single year. But what's even more concerning than the sheer number is how misunderstood this diagnosis has become. We hear more and more about terms like neurodiversity, being proudly autistic, and embracing neurological differences. And while we firmly believe in supporting every child, trust me, with dignity, love, and respect, we also need to have a very real conversation when it comes to this. One that acknowledges the full picture, especially for families living in the daily reality of level 2 and level 3 autism. Because for so many of those families, this is not just about a unique learning style or quirky personality trait. This is about children who are deeply, deeply struggling. Children who can't speak, children who can't sleep, children who can't regulate their emotions or have or regulate their sensory system. It's children who bang their heads against the wall, scream for hours, flap, toe walk, stim constantly, or become just overwhelmed by a simple trip to the grocery store. And it's parents like you who are exhausted, discouraged, and just out of answers. You're doing everything you can to support your child, but you're stuck in a system that keeps telling you this is just how it is. You've been told that it's genetic. You've been told that there's nothing you could be doing differently. You've been told that your child will just always be this way. And while the conventional world blames genetics and the functional world blames the gut, neither of those explanations fully resonate, right? They don't fully resonate. There's deeper answers here. Because if you've been watching your child closely, you've seen the shifts, you've seen the regressions, you've seen the meltdowns that escalate, you've seen them lose skills that they once had, and deep down you know that something has happened. Something changed in your child system that no one else is talking about. We see this every single day in our practice, and we want to share with you a different perspective. One that finally answers the question most parents are asking, why did this happen to my child, and what can I do to help them truly, truly heal? Let me introduce you to a story that's very close to our hearts. Luke was a bright, bubbly baby, hitting all of his milestones, but around 13 months, things changed. His mom, Jackie, noticed that he had stopped talking. The eye contact disappeared, he became harder to console, his sleep became erratic, every little thing seemed to overwhelm him. Sounds, lights, textures, transitions. He was clearly overwhelmed, and she was clearly heartbroken. Who wouldn't be? They began early intervention and therapy, doing everything by the book, but Jackie still felt like they weren't addressing the deeper issue. And that's when they found neurologically focused chiropractic care. They began care, and signs of subluxation were immediately identified. Patterns of neurological distress that were disrupting Luke's ability to calm, to regulate, to connect. Jackie said chiropractic became the one thing that made all the therapies work better. And then one day, after a gentle adjustment, Luke made eye contact. Then a few sessions later, he spoke his first words again. And if you can imagine, everyone was in tears. That moment changed everything. Today, Luke is 10 years old. He's calm, he's talkative, he's happy, he's thriving in ways they never thought possible. And his story reminds us that this isn't just about chasing symptoms. It's about restoring function to a child's nervous system so they can reconnect with the world around them and their families, their moms, their dads, their friends. So let's dive deeper into the real conversation. What do the levels of autism really mean? And why does understanding the neurological root matter so much? According to the DSM-5, autism is categorized in 3 levels based on how much support a child needs. Level 1 means a child needs support with social skills, transitions, or communication, but can often function independently. Level 2 means that they require substantial support, delays in speech, more significant sensory emotional regulation challenges, and limited social interaction. And then level 3 means that they need very substantial support, usually nonverbal, highly reactive to sensory input, minimal social engagement, and often just severe repetitive behaviors or motor impairments. These categories help families qualify for school support, therapies, and services, but they don't explain why the child is struggling in the first place. And they don't account for the fact that these levels can change when we are addressing what's happening underneath. Because what most doctors never tell you, or what miss altogether, is that the nervous system is not fixed, it's adaptable. And if the nervous system is the foundation of the child's struggle, then healing and rewiring is absolutely possible if we address it early and correctly. So where does this all begin? We use the term the perfect storm to describe the layered compounding stressors that start to affect a child's nervous system long before any diagnosis ever happens. This includes fertility struggles like IVF, prenatal stress, maternal anxiety, or trauma during the pregnancy, birth interventions like inductions, forceps, vacuum extraction, C-sections. My kids, if you know our story, they've had both. My son was a C-section and our daughter was a vacuum extraction. And then after birth, it's layers of tongue ties, poor latching, colic, constipation, reflux, chronic ear infections, antibiotic use, exposure to environmental toxins, frequent fevers, and the overuse of medications or vaccines, all in rapid succession before the nervous system is even fully developed. Each one of these stressors creates an imbalance in the autonomic nervous system, the system that controls the resting, the digesting, the immune response, the social behavior, the regulation. Instead of a balanced brain to body connection, the sympathetic fight or flight system just becomes locked in. And then that parasympathetic resting, digesting, and regulating system, the vagus nerve, gets completely shut down. This leads to what we call subluxation and dysautonomia, neurological terms for dysfunction and really just disconnection. And these are not just vague concepts, they are absolutely measurable. We can see these patterns in a child's scans, and that changes everything. At our office, Foundations Chiropractic, we use insight scanning technology to measure a child's neurological function. Not guess, not rely on behavior checklists or subjective surveys, but get real, objective data. We use neurothermal scans to measure inflammation and stress in the autonomic nervous system. We use EMG scans to track how well the brain is communicating with the neuromotor system and how coordinated or chaotic that signal is. And then, this one's a buzzword right now, but heart rate variability. It shows us how resilient your child's nervous system is, how well they adapt to stress, how depleted they are, and how much capacity their nervous system has to heal. And when we analyze these scans, we can determine exactly where your child is on the spectrum of sympathetic dominance, vagal suppression, and overall just dysregulation. We can map out a care plan that's 100% specific to your child's nervous system needs. No more cookie cutter protocols, no more one size fits all therapy models. This is personalized neurological care at the deepest level. And perhaps the most hopeful part of this, we can track your child's progress over time. These scans give us a way to measure real healing, not just whether your child is sleeping better or stimming less, but whether their nervous system is actually changing at the core level. We do these scans and we do them again and again and again. We want to see the objective changes to your child's nervous system. Because here's the truth, level 2 and level 3 autism do come with more significant nervous system dysfunction, but we've seen those children take huge steps forwards. Not just because we treated autism, but because we addressed the true root of dysregulation, allowing their system to reconnect, rewire, and finally grow. So if you're sitting in the middle of your own perfect storm right now, if you're holding the labels, managing the meltdowns, feeling like no one has told you why your child is struggling or what can be done, please know this, you're not alone. And there is hope. Luke and Jackie's story is a one-time miracle, or isn't a one-time miracle. It is a one-time miracle in our office, but it isn't a one-time miracle. We see this journey unfold in practice every single day. We've walked alongside hundreds of families just like yours, and we would be honored to walk with you too. So click the link in our bio to learn more. Reach out to our team. We'll answer your questions. We'll listen to your story, and we'll help take the next step forward toward real answers, real healing, and real hope.